presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's finally home again for the traveling D-backs. Time to make it a home sweet home, coming off another winning road trip, but just 5-12 here at home this year. Ready for a reversal of fortune as we begin a 7-game homestand with 4 against the NL West rival San Francisco Giants. The purple is in place. It's a throwback Thursday on Fox Sports Arizona. Good evening from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. Good to be back home again. It is the first of 4 tonight. The D-backs and the Giants, and what a pitching matchup we have in store for you. Johnny Cueto goes for the Giants and Zach Greinke on the mound for the Diamondbacks. And Bob, it was against these Giants that Zach got his first D-backs win.
Yeah, probably the best game he's pitched this season. A real good old-fashioned pitcher's duel against Madison Bumgarner. Gave up only 1 run. D-backs won that one 2-1. He's been outstanding against the Giants in his career. A perfect 8-0 record against the San Francisco Giants.
He is unbeaten in his last 5 starts. How's he look to you lately?
He looks pretty good. He had to have 1 start against St. Louis when the wheels kind of came off for him. But other than that, I think he's thrown the ball extremely well. He's been the victim of a couple of seeing eye base hits that have really hurt him.
Well, just as Greinke got his first D-backs win against these Giants, we go to Johnny Cueto, who's been a tremendous signing for San Francisco. 4-1 in 7 starts, but the 1 loss came versus the Diamondbacks back on April 21st.
This guy is a big-time strike thrower. 44 strikeouts against only 8 walks on the season. He throws a first-pitch strike 72% of the time, so be ready to hit.
And get ready for the spinning and the twirling and the whirling and the whole thing.
All of it, all of it.
So this should be a lot of fun. First of 4, the D-backs and the Giants, Greinke and Cueto tonight. They're about to open the roof in panels. We are set to go. It's Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona.
Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. By Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros today. And by Gigablast. 100 times more powerful internet from Cox. Bring on tomorrow. We are back home and open for business. Purple in place on this Throwback Thursday. First pitch coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Zach Greinke and Johnny Cueto, the D-backs and the Giants after this. Very comfortable night here in downtown Phoenix. Good to be back home. The D-backs and the Giants. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, J.R. Cardenas along the way. First of 4 versus Bruce Bochy's Giants, who come in here leading the division with a .500 record and only 1 game ahead of the Diamondbacks. The Giants have lost 5 of their last 8. This is their starting lineup tonight.
This out Bochy's going to line them up. Denard Span leading off out in center field tonight. Joe Panik at second base. Matt Duffy at third. Buster Posey mired in a slump right now. He'll be doing the catching. Brandon Belt having a big offensive season. He'll be at first base. Hunter Pence out in right field. Brandon Crawford at short. Gregor Blanco in left field. And the right-hander Johnny Cueto on the mound.
Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the D-backs. It's Zach Greinke. Zach, the Diamondback 32-year-old right-hander. A win his previous time out. That was in Atlanta last Friday. And he is unbeaten in his last 5 starts.
And obviously from his time with the Los Angeles Dodgers, he's hooked up with these Giants many, many times in 11 starts against the Giants. As I mentioned earlier, a perfect 8-0 record with an ERA just a little bit over 2. You see his numbers on the season badly skewed by a couple of rough outings.
BB, time to recapture the home field advantage. Just 5-12 here at Chase Field this season. This is how they'll line up. It's our Eye on Defense, and it's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Chris Owings once again in center field. He'll be flanked by Yasmani Tomas in left and Brandon Drury in right field. Jake Lamb and Nick Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Gene Segura and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side, with Wellington Castillo doing the catching for right-hander Zach Greinke.
Gabe Morales is our plate umpire tonight. He'll have the balls and strikes on a lovely night in downtown Phoenix, Arizona. Roof and panels open. We are set to go. First of 4 against the Giants on the 7-game homestand. Yankees come in for 3 starting on Monday.
Center field, number 2, Denard Span.
Denard Span will lead it off. It's a throwback Thursday. The purple is in place. Always a fan favorite here at the ballpark. And we are underway. The D-backs and the Giants. And there's a strike, 0-1. Span hitting .246 and 1 home run. That homer came on opening day at Milwaukee when he drove in 5 runs in his Giants debut. He drops that into the gap in right center field. Owings over to cut it off. Span will put on the brakes after a wide turn at first, and he is safely back in time. A leadoff single for Denard Span. He almost got himself thrown out.
Well, like a lot of opposing hitters, Denard Span really likes it here in this ballpark. As you get a look at the tail end of that play, just does get back ahead of the tag by Paul Goldschmidt.
Brings up Joe Panik, the second baseman.
Now, Span last season here at Chase Field in 3 ball games was 6 for 12 with a homer and a double.
As a Washington National. He's stolen 4 bases this year. He's also been caught 4 times. Strike 1 to Panik, who's hitting .246. He's got 3 homers. Panik had to sit out a week at the beginning of this month with a slight groin injury, but he has slumped since he's returned. 3 for 25 without an extra base hit. Long set by Greinke, and late time granted by Gabe Morales back there. A ball and a strike to Panik. He's always hit well in this ballpark. 13 games, over .380 with a home run. Right back to the Gold Glover. Ahmed for 1. They roll it.
That's about as sure a double play as you can ever have between a pitcher, a shortstop, and a first baseman. 3 of the most sure-handed defenders in the game.
So quickly, 2 outs on 5 pitches for Zach after the leadoff single by Span, and it brings up the third baseman, Matt Duffy. Duffy coming off a 3-hit game yesterday in the Giants' extra inning win over the Blue Jays at AT&T Park. Strike 1. Duffy .261. He's homered twice. And this year walking a lot more often than he did last season. He's striking out less.
You see his season numbers against the Diamondbacks, hitting an even .500 for his career. He's at .342.
He was in a bad slump when we arrived in San Francisco last month, and he quickly figured it out against the Diamondbacks. Naturally, 3 straight 2-hit games in that series.
We caught the Giants at just the right time, that 4-game series in San Francisco. They were really struggling to swing the bats. Caught the tail end of their rotation to start the series. That's always good.
And we missed Madison Bumgarner this time around. Samardzija starts tomorrow night against Shelby Miller. Patrick Corbin, Jake Peavy Saturday. Ruby De La Rosa, Matt Cain on Sunday. 2 balls and 1 strike to Matt Duffy. Bounce to third. Jake Lamb sets and throws. A nice quick inning for Zach Greinke. We are just underway at Chase Field. Johnny Cueto coming up next.
Fans, it's time for tonight's ABA.
Arizona Ford, starting pitcher for the Giants, Johnny Cueto. His manager, Bruce Bochy, describes him as an artist. They have won 6 of his 7 starts. His only loss came against the Diamondbacks in San Francisco, April 21st.
Well, dancing is considered an art, and Johnny Cueto then is an artist because he will dance out there on the mound. He'll do some spins and some twists. He'll quick pitch. There's a good arsenal of pitches, as I mentioned in the open. He will pound that strike zone.
Gene Segura leads it off. Segura singled twice against Cueto when the Diamondbacks faced him last month in San Francisco. 1-1. Gene in there at .345. He's got 5 homers. Quick pitch, he rolls it into center, a base hit. Leadoff single for Segura, who has now hit safely in 10 straight. A lineup for Chip Hale's D-backs only 5-12 here at home this year. Got to change that.
Got to change that. Gene Segura did his part so far. Leadoff single up the middle. He'll be at second base. Brandon Drury in right field. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Jake Lamb over at third base. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Yasmani Tomas swinging a hot bat out in left field. Chris Owings in center. Zach Greinke, the pitcher, batting 8th. And Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, batting 9th.
Brandon Drury getting a start in right field tonight. Still no David Peralta. David was examined by Dr. Sheridan first thing this morning, and we were told that tests revealed no structural damage in that wrist or hand, so that's good news. There's a strike to Drury, 0-1.
And coincidentally, it was against the Giants that David Peralta took those couple of hit by pitches in the wrist.
From the reliever Josh Osich.
Yeah.
Remember, he strolled out and sort of glared at him, and the bench is emptied the second time. Tied him up inside, but missed. It's 1-1. Drury, 292. He's got 6 homers.
The game plan against Johnny Cueto, like a lot of good pitchers, is try to get to him early. In the first 3 innings of ball games he's pitched this year, his ERA is 6. After that, it drops down to 0.91.
Well, the D-backs jumped on Cueto early when they faced him last month at AT&T Park. They scored in 3 of the first 4 innings against him. But Cueto settled in. He went 7 full in that ball game and was pretty efficient. He needed only 83 pitches and retired the final 7 he faced. But by that time, the damage had been done.
RBI hit by Goldie in the first in that game. Another RBI hit by Goldie in the third, and then a Yasmani Tomas home run in the 4th.
Diamondbacks made the lead stand. That still is Cueto's only loss. El Tanque. He's been hot lately. Coors Field did him a world of good.
Oh, man. Does most hitters a world of good.
2 balls and 1 strike to Brandon Drury. Base hit. Drury slams it into center. A pair of singles lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Well, that's according to plan, Bob. They're getting to him early. Let's take a look at the Giants defensively. It's brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Left to right across the outfield, it'll be Gregor Blanco, Denard Span, and Hunter Pence. Matt Duffy will be at third base. Brandon Crawford at short. Joe Panik at second. Brandon Belt over at first base. Buster Posey behind the plate for right-hander Johnny Cueto.
Here's Goldie. Goldie had a pair of RBI hits, as Bob just mentioned, against Cueto last month at AT&T Park. Doubled and singled in his first 2 at-bats. Got to get to this guy early if you can. 2 on, nobody out.
I would anticipate you'll see all the Diamondbacks hitters ready to attack that first pitch.
Why so?
I mentioned it in the open. 72% of first pitches from Johnny Cueto have been in the strike zone. Not necessarily all fastballs, but he likes to jump ahead in the count and then expand the zone when he can.
0-2. He succeeds in part by throwing strikes and limiting base runners. Clayton Kershaw, Bartolo Colon, the only National League pitchers allowing fewer walks per 9 innings than Johnny Cueto.
One number that really jumped off the stat sheet to me, Johnny Cueto's given up 17 runs this season. 11 of them have come in just 2 innings.
The big inning.
Yeah, now you can't throw those out, but certainly if you did, this guy's numbers would be crazy good.
He has pitched scoreless baseball in 2 of his last 3 starts. A shutout of San Diego, in which he finished with 11 strikeouts. And then he just pitched 8 1/3 scoreless against the Rockies his last time out. That was Saturday in San Francisco. Ahead of Goldie 0-2. Missed inside, a ball and 2 strikes. Gabe Morales not biting back there.
Those gumball purple helmets on tonight.
They do look like gumballs, don't they? Good to have everything opened up here on May the 12th. Very comfortable inside the ballpark. Warmer than Denver at night. 2-2. He's on his way to a Goldie. From 0-2 to 3-2. He's the king.
We're going to have to start the campaign for a new stat. A Goldie.
I'm down.
Lead the league in Goldies. Go from 0-2 to a walk.
Goldie coming off a big series against the Rockies. He went 5 for 12 with 4 extra base hits. And we saw that last series at Coors Field, him square up the baseball like we have not seen him do in a while. Rolls that one to Duffy at third. They get 1, they get 2. Segura in at third, 2 down.
They call that an around the horn double play. 5-4-3. Unfortunately hit just hard enough that Goldie can't beat that relay on the first base.
So with Segura at third, a 2-out RBI opportunity for Jake Lamb, who's in there at 268. He's homered 4 times. He was 2 for 3 against Cueto, a single and a double when they met last month at AT&T Park. He had a big series, as you can see, hit 467 in that 4-game set. 7 for 15, 4 doubles, a triple, and a home run. Base hit, 1-0 Diamondbacks. Jake Lamb picks up where he left off in San Francisco. How's that for a big 2-out RBI?
He's on the first pitch.
You were right.
Absolutely ripped it into right field. That's one of the things that the new sabermetric inclined teams, they look at that. Does this pitcher likes to throw strike 1? Or does he miss the strike zone with that first delivery? Should we wait him out? Should we be aggressive? And obviously tonight they're going to be aggressive early against Johnny Cueto.
Wellington Castillo batting 5th tonight. 3 Diamondback singles in the first against Cueto have made it 1-0 Arizona. That's a strike, 0-1. Castillo 314, 7 home runs. He did not go, says Trip Gibson, the first base umpire. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, at second tonight. Hunter Wendelstedt as third base.
You know, it's that time of year, partner. Fans can start voting for their favorite players for the All-Star game.
We just started.
Yeah, there's a few Diamondbacks that should be getting some consideration and some votes.
Center field, Denard Span backing up at the track, and he runs it down. But the Diamondbacks strike first, 3 singles in the first against Johnny Cueto. And they take a 1-0 lead. Might have been more if not for this Span catch. Second inning coming up. D-backs lead the Giants 1-0.
second inning. Buster Posey will lead it off for the Giants. Zach Greinke with the double play induced in that first inning to escape that leadoff single by Denard Span.
Buster Posey will lead it off. That's in the seats and out of play. We had a shot of those two fans when we came back from break. They got quite a story, Bob. I got to meet these guys. There they are in Colorado. That is Margaret on the left and Gavin on the right. They are from Australia, and they have been Diamondback fans since you were the skipper.
Wow.
And they went to the games when we played at Sydney Cricket Ground. They're crazy baseball fans from Australia. They got the thick accents, the whole thing. And they are here on vacation going to Diamondback games from Australia. They were in Colorado. They have their tickets for this series. They're going to be here for the Yankee series as well. They came all the way from Australia to watch the Diamondbacks. That's Gavin and Margaret.
Outstanding. We welcome you to our humble home.
They were very nice people. They are really excited to be here. It's neat to see how excited they are to see the Diamondbacks play. 1-2 on Buster Posey.
Buster, I mentioned earlier, been mired in a slump. He's won for his last 24. You just hope that continues for 4 more days, because you know at some point, just like with Paul Goldschmidt, he's going to bust out and do some serious damage.
He is in a 1-for-24 skid, and everyone's wondering what's wrong with Buster Posey. Sound familiar?
Sure does.
Make it 1-for-25. First strikeout for Greinke.
First baseman number 6, Brandon Belt.
That's the changeup from Zach Greinke at 88, but with a lot of downward movement as it gets into the hitting zone. Just enough off speed. He's actually trying to get weak contact. That time he got the swing and a miss.
Brandon Belt red hot right now. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Belt .313, 4 homers, 21 RBIs. Likely headed for his best season ever right now. He has walked more than he struck out this year. It is actually on pace to set a career high in walks before we get to July. 1-1.
In the past, when Brandon Belt has gotten really hot, it's usually on pitches up and out over the plate that he'll drive to the gap in left center, and breaking balls that are in the strike zone that he'll pull to right field hard.
Belt had to be scratched from their starting lineup last night in their game against the Blue Jays. Had a stomach bug, but he was able to come into the game in the 9th inning after a double switch, and in fact scored the game-winning run when Buster Posey drew a bases-loaded walk in the 13th. And so Belt has now reached base safely in 19 straight games. Greinke ahead of ball in 2 strikes. Able to check 2-2.
Well, that's something we pointed out in Zach Greinke's last start. I love to see this. He's throwing an off-speed curveball, and as soon as he releases the pitch, he jumps off the mound to the first base side of the field, because that's more than likely where the batter's going to hit the ball. Slow breaking ball, left-handed hitter. Chances are he's going to hit it to the right side. So Zach, kind of a shift out there on the mound.
That's how you win Gold Gloves. Into that shift. Goldie stumbles a bit. Greinke's there. He set down 4 in a row.
2 quick outs here in the top half of the 2nd inning. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda key to the ball game tonight. Home sweet home with the question mark. Diamondbacks have got to start taking charge here at Chase Field. Come into play tonight with a 5-12 home record, which is pretty much what everybody in the West has done except the Giants. 1 game over 500 in San Francisco. Everybody else in the division well under 500.
Hunter Pence among their hottest hitters right now. He leads the Giants in home runs and RBIs, batting .295.
This is about as far down the lineup as I've seen Hunter Pence hit in years.
I was thinking that as I was filling this out. He's batting 6th tonight. Belt has really turned it around nicely and had a good year. Maybe he wants the lefty in between Posey and Pence. That's the only thing I could figure. 1-1. And Pence, like Belt, is walking more often this year than he did last year. Nearly twice as much, in fact. And he's cut down on his strikeouts. Dropped that big hammer in there, but he missed upstairs. It's 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Pence has been ahead in the count most of the season. He's seen a big jump in his on-base percentage. It's actually the highest it's been since he was with the Phillies 5 years ago. Another walk for Pence. 2-out base runner for Brandon Crawford, the shortstop.
Shortstop, number 35.
Crawford
Brandon
RBIs
Walker.
in 10 of his last 11 games. He's in there at just under 260 with 4 homers. Broken bat pop-up, foul ground. Jake Lamb near the dugout, and he's got it. Zach Greinke strands the 2-out walk. He leads it 1-0. D-backs lead the Giants 1-0. Fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 p.m. the following day at participating locations. Yasmani Tomas leads off the Arizona second against Johnny Cueto. Tomas hitting .318. He's got 5 home runs, and one of those home runs came against Cueto in San Francisco last month.
It's a hanging fastball right down the middle of the plate. The day game at AT&T Park, and that ball really jumped to deep left center.
This is sky high to right field. Hunter Pence is under it out there. What away. Chris Owings now.
Center fielder, number 16.
CO 267. He's knocked in 10. Had a nice road trip. Chris has hit safely in 4 straight games, 5 of his last 6. Got to see his folks on the trip. They drove down to Atlanta from South Carolina. Watched him play over the weekend. He had one ball that got by him in Coors Field, but otherwise, BB, looked like he did a tremendous job out there. Fights that one off, and it's 0-2.
Probably did a little better job defensively than Charlie Blackmon, a guy that plays 81 games a year there. He got fooled on a couple of hard hit balls that shot over his head.
Oh, a little fake spinning wind-up quick pitch from Cueto when he gets his first strikeout. He'll mix it up on you.
Just kind of steps right into that delivery. You think he's going to lift that front leg and spin with his back to home plate, and instead he just steps toward the plate. Quick pitches to hit.
Number 21,
Zach Greinke batting 8th tonight. Nick Ahmed in the 9-hole. 5 for 16 on the year. Bruce Bochy says he really enjoys watching Johnny Cueto pitch. He says Cueto's even come up with a couple of oddball motions and deliveries that have surprised him. Greinke blasts it to deep center field. Way back, and it's off the wall. Zach Greinke rolls into second with a 2-out double.
Everybody ambushing Johnny Cueto's first pitch. First double of the season for Zach Greinke. That ball was smoked to straightaway center field. Bat flip there down the third base line as he starts his way around the bases. Hit right at the base of the wall out there in deep center field.
He's in scoring position. 2 outs for Nick Ahmed. Nick had a couple of hits yesterday in Colorado, drove in a run. And he's up at an RBI spot right now, hitting 181 with 3 home runs.
Or rather, the Diamondbacks have been doing a much better job recently of those big 2-out knocks with runners in scoring position.
You're right.
Good opportunity here for Nick.
1-0 on Ahmed. Had a nice game Tuesday at Coors Field as well. A base hit, an RBI, a couple of walks. He's ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Jake Lamb in the first had a big 2-out RBI hit, a single that scored Segura. Now Nick Ahmed trying to knock Greinke home. There's the strike, 2-1.
What a night for a ball game, man. We were talking before the game. We get a little spoiled here. We know every game is going to start on time. You're never going to have a rain delay. You're never going to have to deal with excessive temperatures one way or the other.
A short hop to Joe Panic. He gets spoiled. It's good to be back home where the D-backs lead the Giants 1-0.
From the Purple Vault, let's look back at this day in baseball history. Brought to you by Geico. Mark Grace, as a member of the Chicago Cubs, hit the first pool splashdown home run at Bank One Ballpark. And Matt Williams in 1999, for the third consecutive day, the Diamondbacks with a walk-off home run against the Montreal Expos. I remember both of those moments.
Gregor Blanco leads off the Giant third against Zach Greinke, who's got a 1-0 lead. Jake Lamb, a 2-out RBI single in the first. The game's only run so far. Angel Pagan has been out with a left hamstring strain. Pagan hasn't played since May the 1st, so it's been Blanco in there most of the time, and he's down 0-1. 242, 7 RBIs, but Blanco slumping right now. The more he plays, the more he slumps, it seems. 2 for his last 24 at the plate. Here's Pagan, a grade 1 strain of the left hamstring, so he hasn't played in almost 2 weeks.
Almost makes you wonder why the Giants didn't retroactive a DL stint. I mean, in a few days, he will have served his 15 days on the DL.
They had to send Jared Parker down to the minor leagues just before the game today because they called up Clayton Blackburn, the pitcher. They wanted to carry that extra pitcher. Their bench is thinner now. Even more so if you believe Pagan can't go. But that was a concern with this Giant ball club at the start of the season. How would Pagan hold up? How would Span hold up? Would they stay healthy? What about Kane and Peavy at the back end of the rotation? 2-1 on Gregor Blanco. Jeff Samardzija, he'll start here tomorrow night against Shelby Miller, the Shark. He walks Blanco to open up the third. Second walk in 3 batters issued by Greinke.
Hey fans, MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackouts and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Johnny Cueto apparently will bunt. He looks like he's afraid of the bat and the ball.
He approaches his bunting just like he does his pitching. Feet moving all over the place, body twisting and shaking.
Jake Lamb halfway in at third. Goldie crashes from first. There's a strike. It's 1-1.
This has got a chance to be a double play. If he bunts that ball hard anywhere out in front of home plate, with the Gold Glover Zach Greinke coming straight in from the mound, the Gold Glover Paul Goldschmidt coming in from first, and Jake Lamb drawn halfway in already at third base, this has got a chance to be a double play if he bunts it right to one of the defenders.
If he can make contact.
That too.
He doesn't look all that sure of himself. Pulls back and takes a cut. It's 1-2.
Watch this knee buckle on a curveball.
He popped it up. It stays fair. Greinke picks it up and Blanco moves along. It worked out for Cueto.
That's unfortunate. That ball popped up in the air and actually hit the dirt and spun back toward home plate.
Center fielder Denard Span.
I mean, rarely do you see a pitcher field a bunt on the dirt in front of home plate.
What are you saying?
Well, this guy's really good.
Denard Span singled his first time up. So Greinke with some work to do here. The top of the order comes up. Blanco at second and 1 out. This is driven to Drury in right field. He's got it in the gap. 2 down.
Second baseman.
Nice play by Brandon Drury out there, still learning to play the outfield on a more regular basis. Got a good jump that time. That's a tough play, that hard line drive. You don't have a lot of time to react and read the ball in the air. You just have to get to the spot.
Joe Panik tapped back to the mound and started a double play his first time up. He's 3 for his last 26 up there. Ball 1. Jack's been behind in the count this entire inning, it seems. He has never lost to the Giants in his career, Zach Greinke. Swing and a miss, 1-1. 11 starts versus San Francisco. 8-0 with an ERA of 2.12. Got his first D-backs win at AT&T Park April 20th, his 4th start this year. Pitched well in that ball game, gave up just 1 run, 6 hits, went 6 2/3. Struck out 7 and beat Madison Bumgarner. 1-1 to Panik. Missed there, 2 balls and a strike. Bounced over the mound. Segura on the short hop. Recovers quickly and throws him out. So Greinke strands that leadoff walk. Bottom third coming up. It's 1-0 Diamondbacks. Fans, now's your chance to meet the freight train. David Peralta. Saturday from 10 to 11 in the morning. David will be at the Cox Solution Store in Tempe. That's located at 2040 East Rio Salado Parkway. So he'll be down there signing autographs, doing his freight train thing. Gene Segura leads it off against Johnny Cueto. Segura singled and has scored the game's only run. Came in on a Jake Lamb RBI single in the first. And Segura, as of right now, after his single in the first, holding a 10-game hitting streak, and he's got 15 hits during that streak. 4 for extra bases. He's reached base safely in 19 straight. That's a career high. Off the fist. Foul ball. Johnny Cueto, spinning, twisting, whirling, quick pitching, you name it, he does it.
A guy like Johnny Cueto will probably ruin more young pitchers than you can imagine.
There's a quick pitch. Segura swings and misses, but it gets behind Posey, and Gene will reach here. A little too quick for Buster that time, maybe.
Right fielder,
If you've got a youngster at home and you're trying to teach him the fine art of pitching out there on the mound, you know, we hear pitchers talk about consistent mechanics, repeatable mechanics. Johnny Cueto doesn't know what any of that means. Whatever feels good, that's what he does.
Brandon Drury singled his first time up, knocked one into center.
Yeah, I started to talk about you know, the All-Star voting, and it's never too early for D-backs fans to go on MLB.com and start voting for your favorite players. Brandon Drury, a guy that should get a lot of consideration this year. Wellington Castillo having a big offensive year for the Diamondbacks. Yasmani Tomas, Gene Segura, a lot of good candidates wearing purple tonight.
I kind of feel like Rookie of the Year and All-Star. That works for me.
Sure.
When Brandon's concerned. Started all 9 games on the last road trip, had 10 hits, 4 of them for extra bases. And looking good in the purple on this Throwback Thursday. Segura bluffs and holds on the 1-1.
That can be an effective ploy for a base runner. Occasionally you'll get that catcher to come up out of his crouch just a little bit early to get ready to throw that ball to second base and maybe steal a pitch from the umpire.
Buster was ready to throw down there.
I remember the first time I did that, come up out of the crouch on a fake steal like that. And the pitch was right down the middle of the plate. I said, what was wrong with that? He called it a ball. He says, I can't call it a strike if I can't see it. Well, good point. My bad.
So the umpire was right, you're saying?
Well, that one time.
2-2 on Brandon. Dave Morales back there tonight.
You know, the umpires, they try to work as close to the catcher as they possibly can. Sometimes they get right in there and lean on your back. They want to get as close to that strike zone to get a good look at that pitch as they can. And if the catcher's moving around too much or jumping up out of his crouch, there can be a lot of contact back there. Baseball's not supposed to be a contact sport, but it can be.
Tell that to Ray Fosse.
Yeah.
2-2. Segura takes off, pitches a ball. The throw is not in time, and Gene's got his 5th stolen base. That's a full count on Drury, 3-2.
Not a great jump, but he just kind of outruns Buster Posey's throw to second base that time. In with a head first slide, and watch that left hand grab onto that base.
chopped foul in front of Matt Williams at third. It stays 3-2 on Drury with Goldie on deck. And foot is up against the railing there in the on deck circle. That's where the statue will go someday.
Yep. Right there. You just have to play around it.
Like the flagpole in Houston.
Yeah.
Cueto really having to work here. He's already at 40 pitches, 27 strikes.
They're really creative with his hair out there. You'll notice he takes some of the braids and ties them together in the back to hold the rest of it back.
It's functional as well as stylish.
Yeah. Might have a team hairdresser over in that first base dugout.
Buster Posey wanted to go through the signs one more time on the 3-2 pitch to Brandon Drury. Segura at second. He walked him. First walk issued by Cueto. First two have reached in the Diamondback third, and here comes Paul Goldschmidt.
First baseman, Paul.
Goldie hit into a double play his first time up. He's 0 for 1.
Well, if Goldie wants to lead the league in Goldies, he needs one right here.
Somebody's ahead of him?
Yeah.
How can that be?
Going from 0-2 to 3-2. We're calling that the Goldie. National League ranks Brandon Belt is #1, tied with Francisco Cervelli. They each have 8. Goldie's in second place with 7.
Well, I don't want to see him get down 0-2, but we need to fix that. Goldie tied with Bryce Harper for the major league lead in walks. He has more walks than hits this year. And there's your 0-2. We saw that last series at Coors Field. Goldie square up some baseballs. Had a pair of doubles yesterday. Had a titanic home run Tuesday. 2 more hits Monday against the Rockies, including an opposite field double that would have been a home run last year with the old fences at Coors. It's starting to come around. This was the home run the other night. Watch this one go.
Oh. That's a home run anywhere. That is way back there in the bleachers in left field.
His 7th of the year.
Out there near the Helton Burgers.
One and 2. Goldie had 4 extra base hits in that series at Colorado. I've mentioned a small mechanical change with Goldie. He's got such a simple motion and swing. There's not a whole lot to tinker with or tweak. It looks the same from up here pretty much.
I think just the timing. You know, he has that mechanism where he points the bat straight down his back and then brings it up into a hitting position. And occasionally I think he was just a little late getting the bat up into that position, and consequently he was late getting his foot down. Everything speeded up just a little bit.
He's fighting some pitches off here from Cueto. The pitch count keeps climbing. He's yet to record an out here in the 3rd. Even though he struck out Segura to open up the inning, Gene reached at a wild pitch, and now he's at 2nd. Drury at 1st. Cueto's working.
You see that look he gave Goldie right there as he got the throw back from Posey? Just put it in play, will you?
Cueto wins the battle. He strikes out Goldie, his third strikeout.
It didn't come without a cost, though. He had to throw 8 pitches to retire Goldie that time. And we talked about it on that last road trip. Even though Goldie wasn't swinging the bat well, he was forcing the opposing pitcher to throw a lot of pitches. And that paid benefits for the guys hitting behind him in the order.
2 on, 1 out for Jake Lamb, who has knocked in the game's only run, a 2-out single in the first. And Jake, including tonight, 5 for his last 10 with runners in scoring position. 3 extra base hits and 7 knocked in. He has been a giant killer this year. Those are the numbers from the 4-game series at AT&T Park, not counting his RBI single tonight. 4 doubles, a triple, and a homer, 7 for 15. He's ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Say cheese. Boy, what a beautiful night to be here.
Absolutely perfect.
Big series here, big homestand. 3 more against the Giants, then 3 against the Yankees. dbacks.com/tickets. Come on down. There's a strike, 2-1. Shelby Miller and Jeff Samardzija here tomorrow night. Yankees are in on Monday.
Some miscommunication here. Johnny Cueto has an exact idea of what he wants to throw, and so far Buster hasn't thrown down the right fingers. And with a runner at second, you have to go through a series of signs, so it's going to slow things down if you know what you want to throw and the catcher's just guessing.
Bruce Bochy says, you know, the spinning and the oddball motions, that's all fine, but what he really likes about Cueto is his great focus pitch to pitch, how he thinks, his game plan. And Bochy says what's incredible with all the different deliveries is how he maintains his command. There's a strike, 2-2. He says Cueto works all 4 quadrants of the strike zone as well as any pitcher he's ever seen.
Bruce Bochy's seen a lot of good ones.
You bet. Segura, the runner at second. Drury at first. 1 out, 2-2 on Jake Lamb. He got that one in there at 92. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cueto. 2 outs, and that brings up Wellington Castillo.
Catcher, Wellington Castillo.
Right at the bottom of the strike zone at 92. Cueto has kind of simplified his arsenal, at least so far tonight. He's throwing mostly 4-seam fastballs, cutters, and sinkers. He really hasn't thrown a lot of breaking pitches, hasn't thrown a lot of changeups.
Well, he's got a chance here to get 4 strikeouts in 1 inning. After Segura led off the inning with a strikeout and wild pitch, he then stole second. Drury walked. He's got Goldie. He's got Lamb. Here's Beef Wellington. There's ball 1. Castillo flying out to center his first time up. Duffy at third. They go the short way for the force on Drury, and that ends the threat. First 2 reach for the Diamondbacks, but it stays 1-0.
The fourth. Hey fans, the D-backs welcome the New York Yankees back to Chase Field for the first time since 2010. Series starts Monday through Wednesday. There is former Yankee great Aaron Boone in the house. His daughter Bella there. First pitch for all 3 games, 6:40. The D-backs and the Yankees. Get your seats right now. D-backs.com. I just texted him. I said, you're on TV. He looks nervous. One of the great home runs in Major League postseason history. That homer off Tim Wakefield. It's going to be weird for you to see the Yankees back in this building?
Nah.
You're over it.
Over it.
All right. We move on. Matt Duffy leads off the 4th against Zach Greinke.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody over there left over from the 01 team for sure.
I'm told Joe Torre will be here.
Yeah. Joe's going to be in the house. Monday, we're also celebrating the late Joe Garagiola Sr. Nice festivities on the field before the game, and Joe Torre will be in the house.
Great night to be here. dbacks.com/tickets. 3 games against the Yankees. Duffy knocks it through the hole and into left, a leadoff single. And that's the second hit for the Giants against Zach Greinke.
Catcher, Buster Posey.
Buster Posey, a strikeout victim his first time up. Right now in a 1 for 25 pit of despair. His lone highlight lately was a bases loaded walk in extra innings yesterday. They beat the Blue Jays, a walk-off walk.
How do you walk a guy in the midst of a 1 for 24?
Frustrating.
It happens.
He is Buster Posey. You never know when he's going to hit one 500 feet, I guess.
Yeah, and we've seen the same thing with Goldie this year. Teams have pitched him very carefully, even though for the most part of the early part of the season, Goldie wasn't Goldie. But you respect what he's capable of doing on any given swing.
Well, Buster.
What was that?
Awful close. Greinke wanted it. 1-1.
Boy, that is a perfect slider right there. Dropped it right on the outside corner at the knees.
Gabe Morales missed it. And it comes back to bite the Diamondbacks as Posey slams it into center. A pair of singles lead off the Giant 4th.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Now you've got their 2 hottest hitters coming up, Belt and Pence, 5 and 6 for the Giants. Belt grounded out to first in his first at bat, back in the second. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, kind of sneaking in behind Duffy, the runner at second. Diamondbacks will shade their defense toward the right-hand side, more of a shade than a shift, with Posey, the runner at first. Oh, 0-2. Belt really seeing some productive changes in the way he hits the ball. He's hitting more line drives than ever before in his career. His ground ball rate has dropped dramatically over the last 2 years. He's getting it up in the air a lot more often. And he's hitting the ball the other way more frequently than ever before.
A couple of shakeoffs there from Zach, 3 in fact, and they'll start over.
It's always a little tougher when a guy throws a lot of pitches. You know, sinker, cutter, four-seamer, curveball, slider, changeup.
Give me a hint. Here's the 0-2. Missed with a fastball.
Good location. Might have just leaked off that outside corner a little bit. That's a pretty good take right there.
Zach looked like he wanted that one as well. Belt is really seeing the ball well right now. We're going to have to start over again. Does it mean anything for Belt here, Bob, that Greinke keeps shaking off his catcher and they have to reset?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes when a guy's swinging the bat as good as Brandon Belt is right now, it makes no difference because he's not playing games. He's not counting shakes of the head and trying to figure out what pitch is coming. He's just looking for the ball and trying to barrel it up. But when a guy's struggling a little bit, sometimes all that head shaking and stepping off can get into the batter's head a little bit. Trying to outthink the pitcher and catcher.
Okay, it took 3 or 4 signs to get that one. Here's the 2-2.
It's been a big improvement for Zach Greinke in these situations with runners in scoring position. His first 3 starts this season, opposing batters were 8 for 21 against him. He'd only struck out 2 batters. In his last 4 starts, however, hitters are only 6 for 28, and he's punched out 7.
Hit. He knocks it into center. Here comes Duffy. He will score. The Giants tie the ball game. Posey's in at third. RBI single for Belt. 3 straight singles. Open up the Giant fourth.
Big curveball. Just good hitting that time by Brandon Belt. Really tracked that ball well. You saw his front foot come down and just stopped his momentum. He kept his hands back, and Zach Greinke can't believe he didn't catch that line drive.
So singles by Duffy, Posey, and Belt make it a 1-1 ball game, and with runners in the corners and still nobody out in the fourth, here's Hunter Pence, who walked in his first plate appearance. Four hits apiece now, tied at 1 in the fourth. A bouncer to Ahmed. They get 1, and they can't get 2. Posey scores. It's 2-1 San Francisco.
Nick really had to lay back to get that big hop. You can see his heels are on the outfield grass right there. That gave Belt enough time to get on Gene Segura at second base. Tried to leap over the top, ends up riding him like a pony.
Greinke right at 50 pitches, 30 strikes. Still only 1 out. 2-1 Giants. Here's Brandon Crawford, who popped up in foul territory his first time up. Crawford began the year with base hits in his first 5 games, then went through a 2-week-long slump in April. His batting average when the Diamondbacks were in San Francisco last month dipped down to .216. And he had only 2 hits in that 4-game series, but he's picked it back up again with a solid month of May. Lifts this one into foul ground again. Jake Lamb. Right near third base coach Roberto Kelly. That's the 2nd out in the 4th. And here's Gregor Blanco.
Gregor Blanco.
Blanco walked to lead off the third. And again, the Giants are without Angel Pagan. He hasn't played since May 1st, out with a left hamstring strain. And Blanco has started now 9 of the Giants' last 10 games. Pence at first, 2 outs.
Hunter Pence has not attempted a stolen base yet this year, but this would be a situation that would call for an attempt to get yourself into scoring position with the number 8 hitter at the plate. If you happen to get thrown out, you've got Blanco leading off in the next inning with a pitcher hitting behind him.
Ball 1. Good night to be out there. Roof and panels open on a gorgeous evening here at Chase Field. Yankees really had to work in this Giant fourth. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's also pitched into the 7th inning in 4 of his last 5 starts. One to Blanco. 1-2. Zach Greinke coming off a win over the Braves at Turner Field. That was last Friday. Went 6 innings in that start. 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. And at one point in that start last week, Zach struck out 5 consecutive Braves hitters. 3rd time this year and 2nd consecutive start in which Greinke struck out 8 in a ball game. He's really had to work hard here in the 4th. Full count now on Blanco, 3-2. Cueto, the pitcher, on deck. He's already walked 2. Hunter Pence will be off from first with a pitch. There he goes. That one is knocked into right, and Pence is on the run. Drury has it in right. Roberto Kelly going to stop him there, and it's a single for Blanco. 4th single in this inning for the Giants against Greinke. Here comes Cueto.
A couple different ways to play this defensively at first base. Either you hold the runner on just in case there's an extra base hit, or you play off and play right behind the runner. Goldie this time, the Diamondbacks electing to hold on Hunter Pence, and he shoots it right through that hole where he would have been standing had he been playing behind Hunter Pence. Sometimes the kind of hitter at the plate is the determining factor. Does this guy pull a lot of balls on the ground to the right side? If so, let's play behind the runner and try to plug that hole. Or is he a guy that sprays it all over the field? Maybe he'll hit an extra base hit down the line or something. Then we want to hold that runner at first base so he doesn't get too big a jump.
Cueto was able to pop up a sacrifice bunt his first time up. It was something of a miracle, in fact. But it worked out. Now he's down 0-1. Now 5 hits for the Giants, all singles. 0-2. First two in the inning, Duffy and Posey reached with singles, and they have both scored. Greinke now at 60 pitches, 36 strikes. Blanco takes off for second. Cueto fouls that one back.
Now that is an odd time to run. Because if Blanco gets thrown out, Johnny Cueto is going to go through this song and dance act again to lead off the next inning.
Yeah, not that it's not entertaining. It's just not all that productive for the Giants.
You don't want to have your pitcher leading off in the fifth inning.
He holds this time, and Greinke bounces that one up there.
We haven't talked a lot about it, but that's one aspect of Wellington Castillo's game that has really improved. His pitch blocking ability back there behind the dish. Very early on in his career with the Chicago Cubs, he was known as a strong arm throwing catcher, but really wasn't great at blocking balls in the dirt. He's worked extremely hard with Glenn Sherlock to improve that area of his game, and it shows. I mean, we've seen him pick some balls out of the dirt on blocks and throw guys out at second base.
Cueto waves at that one. Greinke strands two, but the Giants get two. Bottom four coming up. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1.
Moment brought to you by Coors Bank with Rubiel Durazo. We want to talk about having a day against the Philadelphia Phillies on May 17, 2002. Set a franchise record with 9 RBIs, hit 3 home runs, and a 3-run double in his last at bat of the ball game. The amazing thing was he had just come off the disabled list with a bad wrist. Made up for lost time.
Yasmani Tomas will lead off the Diamondback fourth against Johnny Cueto. Roof and panels open. D-backs down 2-1 here. Tomas, Owings, and Greinke the pitcher spot. 6, 7, and 8 against Johnny Cueto. Tomas flied out his first time up. And he begins this homestand with a 6-game hitting streak in May. He's hitting nearly 480 during his streak. He has really had a hot bat lately. And he homered off Cueto last month in San Francisco. He looks at strike one. Quick pitch. Yasmani
This is lifted in the air to left center field, but our spans there. That's the first out. I mean, is it even advisable to swing when he quick pitches unless you really have to with 2 strikes?
No.
I would think it makes sense just to let that go.
Yeah, it just disrupts your timing so much. You end up jumping at the ball. You get out on your front foot. Your hands start moving before you'd like them to, and generally it put the ball in play weakly somewhere.
Case in point, here's Owings, who struck out his first time. This is bounced to Crawford.
D-backs fans, anytime the Diamondbacks score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Zach Greinke banged a double off the center field wall his first time up. And Cueto, after that long top of the 4th, here in the home half, has gotten 2 outs on 3 pitches.
You know, we've talked a lot about Zach Greinke and his pitching numbers against the Giants in his career, a perfect 8-0. He's also hit him well. He's a .318 lifetime hitter with 3 doubles and a homer against the Giants.
I mean, he took a big cut in his first at bat and ripped one to center. Knocks this one the other way. Here comes Pence, and he makes a sliding grab. Cueto has now retired 6 in a row. He's got a 2-1 lead.
Cardinals, it's the top of the 5th. D-backs trail the Giants 2-1 here in the desert. Tomorrow, D-back fans, the D-backs continue their series against the Giants at 6:30 p.m. with coverage in Spanish on Fox Sports Arizona Plus, presented by York Valley Honda dealers, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. To find channel listings and the complete 25-game schedule, visit foxsportsarizona.com. And we got a chance to speak to some of the players. There you see on screen. That was Rodrigo Lopez and Oscar Soria doing the live broadcast in Spanish. Got a chance to speak to some of the players about the Spanish broadcast. Wellington Castillo very excited to have the Latino audience a play-by-play in Spanish on TV. The D-backs have been streaming the games on Fox Sports Go, but not in Spanish or on Fox Arizona Plus. Very excited to have him there. Now I'm going to send it back to the English version of Oscar Soria and Rodrigo Lopez. Steve and Bob.
I tell you, thanks, JR. Those guys are fantastic. Oscar is big time. I mean, he does baseball in the Mexican League in the wintertime. Oscar Soria is one of the most talented baseball announcers in any language. So we're thrilled that the Diamondbacks games are on in Spanish.
Not to mention that he lends a touch of class to a group that desperately needs it.
I mean, it's the best foot we could possibly put forward on the road, because it can get ugly sometimes.
Well, Greinke really had to work in that fourth inning. He trails at 2-1 as Denard Span leads off the fifth. He's 1 for 2. And he's got another base hit. Dunks it into right center. That's 6 hits for the Giants, all singles.
Second baseman, Joe Panik.
Look at Denard Span's numbers every year, and it seems like somebody's getting him out. But the Diamondbacks can't seem to get this guy out no matter what uniform he's wearing.
Joe Panik 0 for 2. He has twice grounded out, once into a double play. That one is blasted deep to right and gone. Joe Panik. That's his 4th. And it's 4-1 Giants. The 6th home run given up this year by Zach Greinke.
Hadn't given up any in his last 2 starts, but this is a fastball up and out over the plate right on a tee for Joe Panik, and he barrels it up to right field. No doubt about that one.
Well, Panik had been stuck in a 3 for 27, but his 2-run homer makes it 4-1 San Fran. Still nobody out. Here's Duffy, who singled and scored his last time up. Brandon Drury coming right at you. 1 away. Here's Posey.
Catcher, Buster Posey.
Well, this is the inning in which some of these Giants who've been slumping start to get healthy. Panik snaps a 3 for 27 with a homer. Posey, his last time up, snapped a 1 for 25 with that single. Scored the second Giant run. .70 pitches for Greinke, 43 strikes. Now 7 hits for the Giants. He has walked 2 and struck out 2.
You asked me earlier if it bothered the hitter when a pitcher stands out there and shakes as many times as we've seen Zach Greinke shake in this game. I think it bothers the pitcher more than it bothers the hitter. You know, guys like to get in a rhythm. They like to get their sign and go, get your sign and go. And when you have to stand out there and continually shake your head to get to the pitch you want, it doesn't really affect the hitter that much unless he's trying to guess along with you, but it certainly throws a pitcher off his rhythm.
Slams that one toward Tomas, and it's bouncing into the seats. A double for Buster Posey, his 7th. And the Giants are starting to tee off on Zach Greinke.
Some loud contact in this inning. Span's little floater into center field, the weakest hit ball in the inning. Even the out that Matt Duffy hit to right field was a line drive. This one hops over the wall out there in left field off the bat of Buster Posey.
So Posey 2 for 3. That'll bring up Brandon Belt. Belt drove in the Giants' first run with an RBI single his last time up. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Jake Lamb will stay put near the third base bag with Posey at second. Ahmed, the shortstop, will move into the second base spot. Brandon Belt this year will make you throw strikes. A very patient hitter up there. Takes a big time cut there. 1-2. Almost came out of his shoes swinging at that one. Randall Delgado starting to loosen up a bit, not throwing yet, but just sort of limbering up down there in the Diamondback bullpen. 1-2 on Brandon Belt.
Here you see Delgado and some of his bullpen mates just starting to move around a little bit.
Mike Butcher, the pitching coach. This has been uncharacteristic of Greinke lately, unbeaten in his previous 5 starts coming into tonight. A winner his last time out Friday in Atlanta, but trails it here 4-1. Posey at second, 1 out in the 5th. And Belt has come back to work the count full. It's 3-2.
Perhaps another borderline pitcher that Zach Greinke might have wanted up and out over the plate. Certainly not a location he wanted to throw it to, but if it is in the strike zone, he wanted to get the call.
Belt has walked more than he struck out this season. 3-2 pitch. No, he's not able to check. He went, says Gabe Morales. Brandon Belt disagrees.
Right fielder Hunter Pence.
Oh, he checked.
That's what Brandon Belt is asking the home plate umpire. Why didn't you check with the third base umpire? That irritates hitters more than anything else. When the home plate umpire, whose duty is to track the pitch into the zone and call it a ball or a strike, can say that they saw your bat too. How many eyes do you have back there?
Hunter Pence. I knew the umpire goodwill wouldn't last long.
No, not long.
Pence has walked, got an RBI fielder's choice. 0 for 1.
Well, the reality is the pitch before that Zach Greinke wanted and did not get was in the strike zone, according to pitch tracks.
He's had a couple that he didn't get and looked pretty good. 80 pitches for Zach, only 48 strikes. He's behind on Hunter Pence, 2-0.
We were talking earlier about Hunter Pence hitting in the 6th spot, which is as low as I think I've ever seen him hit, but it's not unusual. This is the 10th time tonight he's hit as low as 6th in Bruce Bochy's lineup. Most often he hits in the 4 spot, 15 games in that slot, 5 games as a number 3 hitter, 5 games as a number 5, and now 10 games as a number 6 hitter. Our crack staff had a lot of time while we were on the road.
Apparently. 3-0 pitch. In there, first round. Well, Pence has really picked up the pace offensively since the Diamondbacks were in San Francisco in the middle of last month. In that 4-game D-back sweep, he had only 2 hits, both singles. But since that series, he's hit better than .350. 11 extra base hits and 15 RBIs in his last 18 games. He's ahead 3 balls and a strike. And he works a walk. That's the 3rd walk issued by Zach Greinke. He labored in the 4th, and now he's working hard again in the 5th.
A good move here by Wellington Castillo. Just give Zach a little bit of a blow. Hit the reset button. Got 2 outs in the inning here. Big out to get with Brandon Crawford at the plate, who's popped up in foul territory to Jake Lamb a 3rd twice already in the game.
7th batter in this Giant 5th. But Crawford, up there with Posey at 2nd and Pence at 1st, has been a real run producer lately. RBIs in 10 of his last 11 games. 2 on and 2 out. Night started off pretty well for Zach Greinke. Denard Span had a leadoff single, but then he got panicked to hit into a double play. Duffy grounded out. He had a nice quick 1st inning. Issued a 2-out walk to Pence in the 2nd, but got out of it. A leadoff walk to Blanco in the 3rd, got out of it, no problem. The first 3 innings, he threw only 39 pitches. Innings 4 and 5, he's over 45 pitches. 1-1 on Crawford. Crawford has it safely in 8 of his 10 games this month, including 2 home runs. He's ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike. Two is lifted out to right center field. Brandon Drury near the pool, and he runs it down. Greinke strands 2, but the Giants get 2 more. Panic, a 2-run homer, is 4th. They lead it 4-1.
Star Wars night here at Chase Field is coming up Saturday. Get to the ballpark early and get your D-backs Star Wars soft style t-shirt courtesy of Cox Communications. For tickets, visit dbacks.com. And we'll see you here Saturday in your Boba Fett costume, your Darth Vader, whatever you want there, BB. I know you got a lot to choose from.
Yeah, tough choice.
Now, if you show up here dressed as Princess Leia, then I'll really be surprised.
If I had enough hair to put those 2 cinnamon rolls over my ears, I would.
Nick Ahmed leads off the D-backs 5th against Johnny Cueto, who's now got a 4-1 lead. And Cueto has retired the last 6 he's faced. He has walked 1 and struck out 4. And how about this? He's tough to beat when he's got a lead like this. And now he can really get comfortable and give you every goofy windup he can think of. And he's got a lot of them.
And you may see him mix in some more of his secondary pitches. I mentioned a couple of innings ago, he's been getting by with basically 3 different fastballs. See if he starts to mix in some change-ups and some breaking balls. There's a change-up there.
Gives you the big Louis Tiant that time. Cueto said it was during spring training 2010 when he was with Cincinnati. He was just kind of messing around throwing the ball with his goofy spinning windups, and his teammates kept telling him, you know, you're really nasty like that. So he liked it. He stayed with it and just kept inventing, he says. That's a fair ball for Duffy. Long throw. They got Ahmed 1 away. So Cueto just went along, and he's had a lot of success. He kept doing it. And he says he had never seen Louis Tiant pitch when he began experimenting with all these deliveries, but they've had some discussions over the last couple of years, and Louis wants to see him do it even more. He says he should spin around all the time.
Yeah, Louis Tiant's in my book.
You got him, huh?
In the minor leagues.
Oh, El Tiante.
Yeah, Louis Tiant was on some kind of an injury rehab outing or something in Portland, Oregon, and I was playing for the Phoenix Giants, and he did a spin and I did a spin and caught it on the barrel and hit it out.
The great Cuban pitcher Louis Tiant, 19 years in the big leagues. He won well over 200 games, twice led the American League in ERA, and he was the first guy to give it the spin. Segura rolls one up the middle, a 1-out single. He's 2 for 3. Brings up Brandon Drury. Yeah, Tiant says that Cueto doesn't spin around as much as he did. And he should do it more. He can do it every pitch, he says, because the more he does it, the better control he'll have. But as you've mentioned a bunch of times tonight, this guy has excellent control all the time.
All the time.
Almost never walks anybody. Brandon Drury has singled and walked.
Well, he's had 2 really good at-bats, too. Looks like he's seeing the ball well against Cueto.
One swing, get right back in this one. Cueto seems to have mastered this whole thing. He's in a very comfortable position with it, but Louis Tiant was saying if you really want to get creative, you could mix up arm slots. But it's that back turn. He won't do it from the stretch here, but it's the back turn that really hides the ball, and that way you can fool him. One and one on Drury.
A lot of Diamondbacks fans might remember Johnny Cueto's major league debut, April 3rd, 2008. Against the Diamondbacks, pitched 7 innings, gave up 1 hit, a home run by Justin Upton, struck out 10, didn't walk a batter in a Reds 3-2 win.
Our friends from Australia have made it up to our booth here, BB. They're all the way from Australia to watch the Diamondbacks. Gavin and Margaret. Margaret's got her camera taking some photos. And it's great to have them with us. 1 and 2 now. They were at Colorado for that series. They're going to be here for 3 of the 4 games, and then they'll be here for all 3 Yankee games. There's Margaret and Gavin from Down Under. This week's guests on the Dennis Lamb Show.
Don't suppose they smuggled any Vegemite out of the country.
Oh no, I will not allow that in the booth. That stuff is gross. I would take some Tam Tams. Did you guys have some Tam Tams? Those cookies? Those are good. Tim Tams, that's it.
Tim Tams. Yeah, when we got to our hotel in Australia, they had a little goodie bag there, for the visitors, and had some of the local delicacies, and cookies got crushed.
Oh, we bought some on the what do you call it? The duty free on the last thing we did before we got on the plane was buy a whole thing of Tim Tams. 2-2.
It was a 16-hour flight. I got something else at the duty-free shop.
Hello. The flight went by quickly, as I recall. They were at our games in Australia at the SCG, the Sydney Cricket Ground. And now they're here watching the Diamondbacks at Chase Field. That was a tremendous trip. What an experience.
Oh, it was great.
Two and two on Brandon Drury. Gene Segura, the runner at first, 1 out. Segura takes off for a second, pitches inside a ball, and the throw is in plenty of time. Segura caught stealing for the 3rd time. He had a stolen base on Posey earlier in the ball game, but Buster got him that time, no problem.
A little bit of a lean, not a great jump, but this time Posey handled the ball cleanly. There was no fumbling around in the catcher's mitt trying to find a grip on the ball, and puts it right on the money to Joe Panik for the out at second.
So now the bases are empty, 2 outs and a full count on Drury with Goldie on deck. There's the full El Tiante.
Yeah, I mean, it serves a couple of purposes. Number one, it hides the ball well from the hitter, but number two, it just completely messes up your timing.
He quick pitches him, and Brandon, not even rattled a little bit, knocks it the other way. He's aboard for the 3rd time tonight, 2 singles and a walk.
Well, he's looked good all 3 at bats tonight. A quick pitch, high fastball at 92, and Brandon, with that 2-strike approach, just drives it through that right side for his 2nd hit of the game.
Now batting.
What kind of a major league hitter do you think he's going to turn out to be?
I don't think it's out of the question. He could be a 30 to 35 home run guy, carry a high average. He could surpass what I think, but I think he's an easy 280 to 300 hitter every year.
Goldie 0 for 2. He was more of a doubles hitter in the minor leagues, but the scouts have all said that the power will translate into home runs at this level. Big cut there from Paul, and it's 0-1. Goldie, a couple of RBI hits against Johnny Cueto last month in San Francisco. He doubled and singled, but so far he has hit into a double play and struck out. 1-2.
We were having a little fun with the Goldie statistic, 0-2 to 3-2. It hasn't been quite as good for Goldie this year. Obviously off to a slow start. You can go back to the 2014 season. He hit 242 with 7 walks after falling behind 0-2. Last year he hit 252 with 10 walks after falling behind 0-2. Keep in mind, league average is 160. This year he's only 1 for 24 with 2 walks.
Good take there, and it's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's done it again.
Back-to-back 3-2 counts by Cueto. Drury will be off from first with a pitch. Lamb on deck. And Cueto about to throw pitch number 80 in the ballgame. Here goes Drury. Goldie strikes out. We are through 5 at Chase Field on this Throwback Thursday. D-backs trailing 4-1. Live high-speed highlights presented by Cox, Cueto, and Greinke. And so far, BB, it's been advantage Johnny Cueto.
Yeah, after a somewhat shaky start for Johnny Cueto, Diamondbacks had some nice swings on him that first time through the order, but he has really settled in, and exactly the opposite has happened to Zach Greinke. After dealing early, the Giants are starting to square him up.
And as we start the 6th inning, D-backs trailing 4-1. And Gregor Blanco, who has walked and singled, to lead it off. Greinke starts the 6th inning at 89 pitches, 52 strikes. So here's number 90 on the way. And the funny thing about that highlight we just showed you is Greinke's track record against this Giants ball club. 8-0 and 11 career starts. An ERA a smidge over 2 against the Giants. But he had a long 4th and a long 5th. Giants have out-hit the Diamondbacks 8-6. 1-2 on Blanco. 3 singles to lead off the Giant 4th. Duffy, Posey, Belt. Hunter Pence had an RBI fielder's choice. They led it 2-1. And Span led off the 5th with a single. Panic hit a long home run to right field to make it 4-1. And then later in that inning, Posey doubled. Pence walked. Greinke had to get Crawford to fly out to strand 2 and keep it 4-1. So he has really had to work hard here. But there's always ice cream.
There's always ice cream, and you can choose from either one. That's great.
Cold Stone, that's the way to get it done here at the ballpark. That is hit hard right to Goldie.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Johnny Cueto.
Johnny Cueto, who is as entertaining to watch hit as it is to watch him pitch. He's got a sacrifice bunt, but he popped up and somehow it got down, and he is also struck out. Now he charges the mound there and bunts it foul.
Hey, he's entertaining. You never know what this guy's going to do.
He was almost on the infield grass when he made contact with that one. Coming at you, literally.
Well, he managed to keep his foot in the batter's box as he was making that mad dash toward the mound there. You know, and he's in exactly the right place as far as I'm concerned, because the city of San Francisco, they love quirky characters. They love Hunter Pence. They're going to love Cueto, Samardzija, anybody that's, you know, just a little off center. They really embrace those guys.
Well, that's why you were such a good fit.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of Giants fans here as always. Of course, they have their spring training home at Scottsdale Stadium. They're all excited about Golden State. You see that shot that Curry hit at the end of that game last night? He is unbelievable.
I missed it.
There might not be another athlete like him right now in any sport. And you go to San Francisco, it used to be all black and orange all the time. But now it's the yellow and the blue of the Warriors.
What amazes me is I watched him play basketball, and he looks like a water bug out there on the court. He's just so quick, and he's an inch taller than I am.
Jake Lamb at third, sets and throws. He can score, it seems, anytime he wants from anywhere on the court. It is remarkable to watch, and I'm not even that big an NBA guy, but he is extra special.
Center fielder, Denard Span.
Denard Span has singled twice and scored a run.
You know who else is extra special? How about Max Scherzer?
20? Not bad, huh?
Through 96 strikes. Boy, and you know, how rare is that? Well, Randy struck out 20.
There are fewer guys who have 20 strikeout games than have perfect games. In fact, far fewer.
Yeah, I was about to say, between Randy's 20K game and Max Scherzer's last night, there have been 46 no-hitters and 7 perfect games thrown. That's how rare that is.
There's Todd Walsh hanging out with the Mucky Mucks out there. He's got a tambourine, apparently. I guess he's brought his Monkeys records again. Last train to Clarksville for Todd Walsh. He's always wanted to be Davy Jones. He just hasn't been able to pull it off yet.
I'm going to buy me a dog.
I'm going to buy me a dog. 100 pitches for Greinke, 59 strikes. You could wear that Mike Nesmith wool cap. Probably too hot here, though.
Stocking cap.
So he's got the tambourine. Probably pulled that out of Todd's garage. I'm scared to go in there.
Well, you have to get by security first.
It's not easy. It's all temperature controlled, airlocked. Go in there with the velvet gloves and look through some old bobbleheads and stuff. Zach Greinke has yet to achieve a 1-2-3 inning here. He did face 3 in the first, but Span singled. Panic had a double play ball. Sanderson Ford bullpen will get busy. Evan Marshall, the right-hander. Garvin Alston, the bullpen coach. Bullpen coach always has to stand near the phone, don't they?
Yeah, close to the phone, close to your pitcher, so you can prep him for the hitters he's likely to face when he goes into the ball game and what their strengths and weaknesses are. What's the game situation?
Greinke strikes out Span. That's 4 strikeouts for Zach. A 1-2-3-6, but he trails it 4-1.
Summary, Johnny Cueto so far has been outstanding. Zach Greinke has struggled for the Diamondbacks. Joe Panik, a 2-run homer in the 5th inning. As the Giants got 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, they lead at 4-1. Jake Lamb will lead off the Diamondbacks 6th. Against Cueto, Lamb, Castillo, Tomas 4, 5, and 6. Jake so far has an RBI single and a strikeout. He's 1 for 2.
Starting to see more of those straight changeups now from Johnny Cueto. 3rd time through the order. That's the thing about Cueto. He's got great stuff. You know, a lot of people think he's just a gimmick pitcher out there on the mound with these quick pitches and whirling dervish windups, but he's got great stuff. Dave Righetti, the longtime pitching coach for the San Francisco Giants, one of the most respected pitching coaches in the game.
The stability.
Oh, yeah.
He's been there forever. Righetti, Lotus. We just lost Flannery. Finally had enough.
Yeah, Bochy said that's what happens when you get 3 World Series checks in 6 years.
Cash out.
Good for Tim Flannery. He had a nice career as a player down in San Diego. He had a great career as a 3rd base coach for Bruce Bochy, and now pursuing his music career.
When are you going to go on tour? No?
I tour around my house.
Playing to captivated audiences,
yes,
no doubt.
Indeed.
Beautiful night here at the ballpark. Roof and panels open. Start of a 7-game homestand. dbacks.com/tickets. 3 more against the Giants, then the Yankees will be here for 3 starting on Monday.
I do go on tour. It's just nobody hears me. I play in my hotel room almost every night on the road. Start charging admission.
It'll be like Bob Dylan up in the hotel room there.
You hear the same 2 or 3 songs every night.
Those are 3 really good chords. Jake Lamb can't check. 6 strikeouts for Cueto. Hey, D-backs fans, it's Mountain Dew Decision time. 2016. Dew fans everywhere asked to bring back 2 legendary flavors: Mountain Dew Baja Blast and Pitch Black, but only one will stay, and you get to decide. Vote online today at decision.com. Wellington Castillo 0 for 2. Did you ever get that master that mandolin that your boy Kruko brought you a couple years ago?
That's tough duty there. I have big gnarly fingers from too many foul tips, and that mandolin is really small. The neck on it.
Yeah, you gotta have very what do you call it? Dexterity.
Dexterity. Yeah, that's not my strong point.
Wellington Castillo, a 1-out single. Looking for some base runners here. Down 4-1 in the 6th, and Cueto at 90 pitches, 59 strikes.
Left fielder,
Cutter just kind of fluttered up there on the inside part of the plate for Wellington Castillo. He stays hot at the plate.
Tomas 0 for 2. He is twice flied out. Looking for Yasmani to get into one here. Last 2 games at Colorado, 6 for 8, couple of doubles. A hot bat lately, but hitless so far tonight. Starting this homestand with a 6-game hitting streak. Rolls it up the middle. Panik is on it. Flips to Crawford. A tremendous play by Joe Panik. They get the force on Castillo. Big night for Panik, who's got a home run in that defensive gem.
3 at-bats for Yasmani Tomas in this game. He's seen a total of 5 pitches, making a bid for another base hit up the middle of the field that time, but Joe Panik, the second baseman, with a nice diving stop and shovel toss on to Crawford for the out. Robbery.
So it's up to Chris Owings, who has struck out, grounded out 0 for 2. Chris has hit safely in 4 straight games, 5 of his last 6. This one is slammed toward the pole. And it's off the base of the wall. Matt Williams will wave Tomas. Here's the throw from Crawford. It is not in time. It's an RBI triple for Chris Owings.
Boy, that sounded good off the bat. Fastball up there around the letters for Chris Owings. We know he's got some sock to the opposite field. I thought that might have a chance to sneak out there in the RamTrucks.com pool, but falls just short for an RBI triple.
And that's the Chris Owings that used to drive balls into the gaps before the shoulder injury. We're starting to see that guy again. But here comes Greinke's spot, which is 8th tonight in the order. And so they'll send Ricky Weeks Jr. up there in a 4-2 game, and Owings at third with 2 down. And Ricky has been very productive in this role lately. 6 for 18 as a pinch hitter, 4 doubles and 3 RBIs. Evan Marshall ready to go. He'll get the 7th.
Ricky Weeks has more at-bats against Johnny Cueto in his career than any other Diamondback. Unfortunately, it hasn't been real good for Ricky. 6 for 31. That's a 194 average.
In there for a strike, 1-1.
He has drawn 5 walks against Johnny Cueto.
Ricky had a big role in that D-backs comeback yesterday afternoon at Coors Field. Pinch hit double in the 7th. He scored a run. Pops this one up, and it's going to reach the seats. 1-2. Zach Greinke's night ends here. Disappointment for him and Mike Butcher, I'm sure. 4 runs on 8 hits. He walked 3, struck out 4. 1-2 on Ricky Weeks Jr. Owings at third, 2 down. Ooh. 3-2.
Good call that time by Gabe Morales behind the plate. Cueto wanted it. Bruce Bochy and some of the other Giants in that first base dugout were giving it to the home plate umpire. Wake up Buster. Oh, there you go. He was in a trance back there for a moment. Front door cutter. Do it all the way across the plate for ball 4.
Brings up Nick Ahmed. Second walk issued tonight by Johnny Cueto. Bullpen still quiet for the Giants.
Shortstop, Nick
Ahmed 0 for 2. He has twice grounded out. Nick Vic had a pair of hits yesterday at Colorado, drove in a run. And a base hit and RBI Tuesday against the Rockies. The bat has shown signs of life lately. 2 on and 2 out, a run in. Bullpen will start to get busy for the Giants. Hunter Strickland has started throwing. Here's the big right-hander. Two.
Nick has swung at a couple pitches in this at bat that very nearly hit him.
Yeah.
A couple of fastballs up and in, running even farther inside.
100 pitches for Johnny Cueto, 65 strikes. 2 on, 2 out, 0-2 on Nick Ahmed. Got him. But the Diamondbacks get one back on the Owings RBI triple. Will head to the 7th. They trail it 4-2. The Giants 4-2.
D-backs now pitching number 50, Evan Marshall.
Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Padres. Well, I don't think Justin Upton still plays in San Diego, but we'll move on. Dodgers are leading the Mets 5-0. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, Evan Marshall, the right-hander.
Breaking news, there was a late trade.
Apparently.
How about the Padres? They go into Chicago and got rained out a couple days ago. Had to play a split doubleheader yesterday and swept the Cubbies, including a 1-0 win in Game 2.
I thought the Cubbies were going to go undefeated this year.
I did too.
That's what I read. Panica 2-run homers last time up, his 4th of the year. Evan Marshall, 6 big league appearances with the Diamondbacks this year. 7 hits in 7 1/3 innings. The ERA is at 4.91. And this is your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change. He last worked yesterday at Coors Field. Gave up 2 runs, couple of hits in 1 1/3. His first big league appearance since April 24th after coming up from AAA Reno.
2-2 on Joe Panic. Panic, Duffy, Posey here in the Giants 7, 2, 3, and 4. 8 hits apiece. Panic's home run in the 5th off Zach Greinke was a no-doubter. Several rows up into the seats in right field. And Evan comes back and strikes him out. 1 down. Kansas State Wildcat back in the purple on this Throwback Thursday. Brings up Matt Duffy, who singled and scored in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. The Sheriff, Andrew Chafin, the left-hander. He hasn't pitched since the weekend in Atlanta.
Looks like the deputy sheriff now. He's trimmed that mustache up considerably.
I give him credit. He is committed to the cowboy hat. It is always on his head when we're in civilian clothes. He's all in. Rio's in there for a strike. Duffy 3 hits yesterday in the Giants' extra inning win over the Blue Jays at AT&T Park. Last year's runner-up for the National League Rookie of the Year. Sky high to right for Brandon Drury. Drifting near the line. He's got it in fair territory. 2 up, 2 down for Marshall.
Hey fans, bring the kids to the game this Sunday. The D-backs take on these Giants, and the first 10,000 kids will get a T-ball set courtesy of MLB Play Ball. And after all Sunday home games, kids can run the bases for Phoenix Children's Hospital. For tickets, visit dbacks.com.
You better get some of those for the grandkids.
Oh yeah.
Gemma Rose will be knocking line drives all over the house.
Perfect.
I'm sure they'll be thrilled. Buster Posey has singled, doubled, scored a run. He's 2 for 3. Posey said this week he's definitely not where he wants to be with his results right now. He just went through a 1 for 25 skid. But he's got base hits in his last 2 at bats. Segura, the second baseman, will play on the shortstop side of the bag for Posey. And he feels like his swing is all right. It's more a matter of a fraction of inches of the bat on the ball. Some routine ground outs that could have been outfield base hits for him. And we've seen a couple of those tonight. He won't be down for long, that's for sure. Reaches out and lifts that to right field. Brandon Drury has room though. He's showing the warning track, and Evan Marshall comes in and works a 1-2-3-7. We stretch at Chase Field. Diamondbacks down 2. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix, home half of the 7th coming up. Diamondbacks trail the Giants 4-2. What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of this 4-game set. Shelby Miller on the mound tomorrow night. Jeff Samardzija for the Giants. Diamondback Live pregame show comes your way at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona. The Shark, Jeff Samardzija. Johnny Cueto back out there for the 7th inning, and Gene Segura will lead it off. He is 2 for 3, a pair of singles, and he has scored a run. Going this deep into a ball game is nothing new this year for Johnny Cueto. In fact, no pitcher in the league has faced more batters this season than Cueto. He's gone at least 7 full innings in 6 of his 7 starts with the Giants. Right to Duffy. And on the edge of the grass at third, 1 away. Cueto's already been over 100 pitches 5 times. In fact, his high for the year is 119. That came in that shutout of San Diego April 26th when he had 11 strikeouts.
A few moments ago we gave you the Dodgers Mets score. Dodgers leading 5-0 top half of the 8th inning. Bartolo Colon went 5 innings, gave up 5 runs and 2 homers in that game. Kershaw 8 innings, 2 hits, none of them Bartolo Colon homers. And Kershaw struck out 10.
I'm still trying to process that.
No kidding.
Emotionally. Brandon Drury, 2 singles and a walk. One and two.
Little extra shake and bake that time.
He's fun to watch.
Yeah, not only does he turn his back, but watch his shoulders.
I mean, he is an artist. That's the way Bruce Bochy describes him. But what do you think your approach would be when facing Johnny Cueto?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It really is. I mean, you can get caught in between the Louis Tiant, turn your back to the hitter, or the quick pitch, and you could be jumping at one and too late on the other. I don't know. Whatever it is, Brandon Drury apparently has a good approach. He's kind of taking some good swings tonight until that one. You can see how frustrated he was. I think he knew that he was having a good night seeing Johnny Cueto until that last pitch.
His last base hit in the 5th inning came on a Cueto quick pitch. And he got all wound up there. Cueto now with 110 pitches. And with 2 outs, here's Goldie. That's 8 strikeouts for Cueto. He's got Goldie twice. He's 0 for 3.
Buster's running out of fingers back there behind the plate. Went through everything Cueto had. He shook them all off.
Here's Josh Osich, the left-hander. Corey Guerin, the right-hander. 1 and 2. He strikes out Goldie for the 3rd time tonight. Cueto through 7 with 9 strikeouts and a 4-2 lead.
Ball, the Giants beating the D-backs right now 4-2. It's the end of the 7th inning, top of the 8th. New pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. You might recognize him. He looks a little different. Andrew Chafin, the sheriff, this time without a mustache. When I asked him, I said, why the mustache? He answered me with his best answer, he says, because he felt like it. A couple of seconds later, he comes back and says, in all reality, my girlfriend hated it, and I was tired of her complaining, so I decided to surprise her and take it off. I did come back, and I asked him, what if we run a poll on Twitter, and people want you to bring it back? Will you bring it back? As long as you can convince my girlfriend, it's coming back.
Well, he's got his priorities straight,
You
right?
got that right.
Doesn't quite have the same sheriff look. He's now a baby-faced kid.
Yeah. Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Brandon Belt, an RBI single in the 4th, 1 for 3. Carves this one the other way for Tomas. One pitch, 1 out for Chafin. 16 appearances this year. The ERA over 6.5. He's coming off a rough outing Sunday in Atlanta, when he gave up base hits to 3 the 4 he faced. That one got ugly. That was the game that Herman won it later in the game with his 2nd home run.
He left a couple of inherited runners for other pitchers out of the Diamondbacks bullpen that eventually came around to score earlier this season as well to help blow up that ERA.
Hunter Pence has walked twice.
Well, that's the issue for a relief pitcher, working 1 inning at a time, sometimes 1/3 of an inning or 2/3 of an inning at a time. If you have one bad outing and give up 4 or 5 earned runs, it might take you all summer to get that ERA back down where you want it.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to come back next time and go 6, 7 innings and water that thing down.
You might come in and face one hitter. Your ERA will drop 1/10 of a point.
I don't know if you're aware, but Hunter Pence up there, BB, is a big Game of Thrones fan. I know you're into the Game of Thrones. In fact, if you check out his Twitter feed, it's got pictures of him riding his scooter around San Francisco wearing a replica Hound helmet, just like Sandor Clegane does.
Oh, Sandor, yeah.
I knew you'd like that one.
Well, I always knew him as Sandy, but
winter is coming. Yeah, he had some teammates over a couple of weeks ago to watch the big season 6 premiere episode. Noah Berlin somehow not invited to that one. I don't know what happened there. Must have lost his invitation. They went over to Castle Pence and they watched Game of Thrones. Valer Morgulis. Wow. that one was north of the wall, but he swung anyway.
I don't even know what it means, but certainly seems appropriate.
Shortstop.
You let it go, I might swing at it. That ball is over his head. look good.
Brandon Crawford. There's actually, I'm sorry, there's actually, I was going to say, a video of Hunter Pence. They have, he films these videos and he discusses the episodes, and he dressed up as the Khaleesi, the mother of dragons. He's wearing a big blonde wig and talking about Game of Thrones. It goes back to what you were saying about just guys that fit in San Francisco.
Sure. Yeah, my comment was a little more baseball related.
Well, it's probably more appropriate.
I was just going to say Hunter Pence is another one of those guys. We talked about Buster Posey and Goldie, and you know, guys that maybe aren't doing quite what they want to do at the plate, but you know, he still contributes. He's drawn 2 walks tonight, but you know, at some point he's going to get hot and make the entire league pay.
Well, he's leading them in homers and RBIs. Well, Marshall a 1-2-3 7th, Chafin a 1-2-3 8th. Diamondbacks trail it by 2.
Diamondbacks Live coming up right after the game. Brandon Webb, do you have anything on where Zach Greinke may have stumbled here tonight?
Yeah, we're going to take a look at his first few innings, the success that he was able to have, and then what eventually pushed him out of the game in the 6th inning towards the middle of the game when he was fighting himself. So take a look at those 3 things.
All right, here we go, guys. Plenty of baseball left. We'll send it back to you. See you after the game.
All right, guys, thanks. Look forward to that. New pitcher for the Giants. It's the left-hander, Josh Osich. He's the guy that hit David Peralta twice in successive games, and that's why David has been out with a bum wrist lately. Left-hand hitters just 2 for 28 against him this year, and Jake Lamb leads off the Arizona 8.
And 14 innings of work. Those are the only 2 hit batsmen for Josh Osich.
Yeah, careful.
It is tough.
Yeah, I remember the second time he hit David. Kind of strolled out to the plate and gave him a look, and the bench is emptied. That was about it. David was checked out today by Dr. Sheridan for that nagging pain that's kind of lingered in his right wrist, and we were told there was no signs of any structural damage. Another chance here for Jake. Last couple of games he's had several opportunities to get in there against left-hand pitchers. And a big road trip. Started 7 of the 9 games. Had 4 extra base hits, 6 RBIs on the trip. And would have had more, but he belted a few into some shifts on the right side of the field that took away some base hits. Up and in, 96, 3-1 now.
Hey, we want to wish a happy birthday to the late great Yogi Berra, who would have been 91 today. Yogi passed away last September. And how about this for a stat? In 19 big league seasons, Yogi Berra struck out 414 times, never more than 38 times in a season. Now, just as a point of comparison, Mark Reynolds in 2 seasons combined, 09 and 10, struck out 437 times.
What are you saying?
Oh, man. Yogi was just a little bit more of a contact hitter.
Well, a leadoff walk against a left-hand pitcher. That's the nice approach against lefties that Chip Hale has talked about with Jake Lamb. They like the approach, and that's another good example. A leadoff walk, they're looking for base runners. And he's going to go get the lefty as Wellington Castillo comes up. We'll take a look at the right-hander Corey Guerin when we come back. D-backs down 4-2, and school is officially out for summer. Students can take advantage of ticket discounts all season long with the D-backs Student Pass. Just text STUDENT to 76925. That's STUDENT to 76925, or log on to dbacks.com/students. Corey Guerin, the right-hander, on to face Wellington Castillo, who's the tying run at the plate in the 8th inning. Jake Lamb, a leadoff walk. The new pitcher for the Giants, the right-hander Corey Guerin, who's had a rough time of it as of late. He's given up runs in 2 of his last 3 outings. And opponents his last 6 times out are hitting better than .360 against him. Cueto out of there. Time to take advantage. 1-1 on Beef Wellington, who singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3. Wellington, a big road trip, played in 7 games, 6 of them were starts. Hit over 400 on the trip, 4 extra base hits. He knocked in 7. Trying to get something going right here. No outs in the 8th.
Guerin's the guy that kind of drifts out there on the mound. I remember seeing him in San Francisco, and Dave McKay said, we're going to run this guy right out of the gym.
Marlena Dietrich. Just kind of leaning against the lamppost.
Yeah. Of course, you got to get the right guys on base. Jake Lamb, not a big-time base stealer, although he surprised some opponents this year with some stolen base attempts.
2 for 3 so far on the year. Bell playing right in front of Jake over at first. 1-2 on Castillo. Two misses up and in. The count is full.
Tomas on deck.
Aaron's not a big-time strikeout pitcher, even though you're trailing by 2 runs in the game. With that little lean he has out there on the mound, it wouldn't surprise me to see Jake Lamb moving over there at first base. He strikes the guy out.
1 away.
Left field, Yasmani Tomas.
Go to the top of that sinker from that real low 3/4, almost sidearm delivery.
Yasmani Tomas, a 6-game hit streak this month, but so far 0 for 3. Reached on a fielder's choice and scored a run his last time up. Scored on the Chris Owings RBI triple. CO's 3rd triple this year. He's the tying run at the plate, 1 out in the 8th. Aaron so far more balls than strikes. Hard to third. Duffy snares it from foul ground, throws him out. This was Chris Owings in the 6th inning. It's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning and plumbing cool play of the game. This one looked like it might get out to the pool.
Yeah, he squared it up good. Short hops the wall right out there in front of the pool. That triple drove home Yasmani Tomas, who had reached on a fielder's choice right before that triple.
And Chris has now hit safely in 5 straight games, 6 of his last 7. Jake Lamb at second. 2 outs. Jake Barrett and Brad Ziegler warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. Owings trying to bunt for a base hit with Duffy back at third, but he fouls it to Matt Williams.
That was worth a shot right there. Duffy playing way back at third base.
Pitcher spot up next. Phil Gosselin in the on deck circle. Ball and a strike to Chris Owings. Four-two Giants, each team with 8 hits. Belt is back there. He's got it, and they strand the leadoff walk. Will go to the 9th inning. Diamondbacks trail the Giants 4-2.
Johnny Cueto tonight. He's our Jimmy John's delivery. A quick pitch changeup right there. I mean, this is doing the hokey pokey, whatever you want to call it. Another changeup there out of the full Tiante. There's another quick pitch changeup. And then I'm not quite sure what to call this one. A wiggle, a shake. Fires a fastball up and out over the plate that Brandon Drury fouls out of play on the right side. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Not so fun to hit against, though. Diamondbacks down 4-2 as we start the 9th inning. And the new pitcher for the D-backs, the right-hander Jake Barrett, 12 appearances this year, a 2.84 ERA. Jake works Sunday in Atlanta and again Monday in the series opener against the Rockies. 12 and 2/3 innings. He's given up 11 hits, 9 strikeouts. He'll work to Gregor Blanco to lead off the Giant 9th.
We're celebrating the 2002 D-back season. Clayton Kershaw tonight had his 5th consecutive 10 strikeout game, 10 or more strikeouts, the first since Randy Johnson did it for the D-backs back in '02. And how about this? Clayton Kershaw punched out 13 Mets tonight, walked 1. Now on the season that gives him 77 strikeouts and 4 walks.
Pretty good.
Oh.
Some pretty impressive pitching performances lately. This one is hit right to Segura at second. Got Scherzer striking out 20. Kershaw doing that just about every night. You got Noah Syndergaard beating the Dodgers and hitting 2 home runs.
How about that?
With a hammer of Thor and the whole thing. Pitcher spot is up now for the Giants. And here's the left-hand hitting Connor Gillespie. 294 and a homer. Just under 20 at bats for the Giants this year.
Number 21, Connor
Called up to the
Gillespie.
minor leagues near the end of last month. Diamondbacks will have the lower part of their order due up in the 9th inning. The pitcher spot will lead it off. Then it's Ahmed and Segura, 8, 9, and 1. Gillespie, originally a first-round pick by the Giants out of Wichita State, played a handful of games with them at the big league level. And they kind of soured on him, and he admits he soured on them. He was dealt to the White Sox, played a couple of seasons in Chicago, spent some time with the Angels last year. And now is back with the Giants, where it all began for him. He was a first-round bust. Spent 5 years in their organization and admits he was a bad apple. He said he was young, probably not mentally or physically or socially where he needed to be to live up to expectations. It didn't work out, but now he's happy to have a second chance. Pops this one up near the D-back dugout, but it's going to get in the seats and out of play.
We got to hook the governor up with Connor Gillespie.
Why's that?
He studied meteorology at Wichita State and is an avid storm chaser.
You're one of those people that drives around in the vans after tornadoes?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, chasing numerous tornadoes around the Midwest.
He grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, Connor Gillespie. Would you ever do that? Drive around with all your equipment in a van like a Scooby-Doo chasing tornadoes?
I don't think so.
Didn't think so either. Gillespie strikes out. 2 up, 2 down for Barrett. Here's Denard Span. Well, the Giants do not have a hit since Posey's double in the 5th inning. It was a 1-2-3 7th by Marshall, a 1-2-3 8th by Chafin, and now Barrett's got the first 2 in the 9th. Span tonight 2 for 4, a couple of singles. He scored a run. Got news from the farm here, BB. Another big night for Peter O'Brien, who homered last night for Reno, his 10th of the year. Another home run tonight. Number 11. This one is headed for the corner. And it's out of play. Peter O'Brien tonight for the Reno Aces, 3 for 4, a double and a home run, his 11th of the season. And as Chip Hale was talking about when we were in Miami, Peter's going to force the issue here pretty soon.
Well, especially surrounding the uncertainty of David Peralta's wrist injury. The Hand specialist Dr. Sheridan came back and said there's no structural damage, but it's still not at 100%, and it remains to be seen how long David will be out.
Peter, player of the month for April. There's David Peralta. Well, it's good to know there are options down there. And Span strikes out. Second strikeout for Barrett. It works a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Bottom 9 coming up. Diamondbacks down 2. Diamondbacks trail the Giants 4-2, and the San Francisco closer is on. It's the right-hander Santiago Casilla, who has gone 7 for 10 in his save opportunities this year. 3 blown saves, tied for the most of the major leagues. So a chance here for the bottom of the Diamondback order, which will lead it off. The pitcher spot due up, and it's the Bade, Chris Herman, who will hit for the pitcher. After that, Nick Ahmed, Gene Segura. So 8-9-1 in the Arizona 9th. Chris Herman, 255 and 4 homers, and it's hard to get any hotter than Chris is right now. His last 5 games, all starts. He's hitting over 400. A double, 2 triples, 2 homers. Looking for a base runner here. Hunter Pence was out chatting with some folks by the pool and is late getting back to his position, and now we're set to go. Hunter was over there in the right center gap on the warning track, just chatting away, socializing.
Game of Thrones talk out there.
Might have been. Now that Jon Snow is alive again.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. You know I do that on purpose, right? 0-2 on Chris, but as we know, he's had his best when it's 0-2. Both of his home runs in Atlanta on Sunday came on 0-2 counts. Phil Gosselin on deck. He will hit for Nick Ahmed. And Herman strikes out, 1 away.
Casilla's a little bit odd as a closer in that he throws 2 different breaking balls. He'll throw a curve and a slider to go along with that low 90s fastball. Most guys that come in there to finish out a ball game, they have 1 specialty breaking ball. They either throw a nasty slider, a nasty hook, split finger, some kind of an out pitch, but Casilla has 2 breaking balls he can go to.
Gosselin hits for Ahmed. Phil 6 for 17 as a pinch hitter this year. That's a .353 average. Gets this one up in the air along the right field line. Here comes Hunter Pence. And a good job by Michael Money Ransom, our Golden Glover down the right field line, to get out of the way there. Showed some good ups. Phil in there at 271, a home run. There's Money. And down the left field line tonight is our old friend Sam No Neck Noriega. He's back tonight. No Neck down there left.
That was one of the great nicknames in baseball. Walt No Neck Williams.
Let's see if he has a neck. I don't know.
More than Walt did.
That is an all-timer. In there for a strike at 93, and it's 1-2 on Phil Gosselin. Gene Segura will be next. Diamondback Live post-game show. Brandon Webb and Tom Walsh immediately follows our bowl game. Back tomorrow night for Shelby Miller and Jeff Samardzija. Gosselin by Duffy, fair ball down the left field line. It's in the corner, and Phil Gosselin has a pinch hit double, and the Diamondbacks will get the tying run to the plate with one out in the ninth. How about Gosselin now 7 for 18 as a pinch hitter this year?
It's the curveball from Casilla that time that hung up over the inside part of the plate. Duffy not guarding the line, and Gosselin shoots it right past him down into that left field corner.
So here's Segura. Diamondbacks aren't done yet. They have now out-hit the Giants 9-8, but still trail it 4-2. Segura 2 for 4, a couple of singles. He's hit safely in 10 straight. Ball one. Base hit. Matt Williams away, Gosselin home. Now he's going to put the brakes on. And he changed his mind. He was windmilling him home there. And suddenly put up the stop sign. Third hit tonight for Segura.
Well, not only did Matt Williams change his mind, but the center fielder Denard Span changed his mind. He looked like he was going to throw to home plate the whole way. Gosselin had to hold up momentarily to make sure that ball dropped, but Span ends up just throwing the ball back into second base.
Yeah, Matt at this point is in full windmill. Gosselin picks him up and then whoa. So the tying runs are on. Brandon Drury, the winning run at home. One out. And Drury has singled twice and walked. Casilla's already blown 3 saves this year. In there for a strike, 0-1. Drury singled in the first, walked in the third, singled in the fifth against Cueto. Goldie on deck. Back foot up against the railing. One and one. 1-2 pitch. Got him. Second strikeout for Casilla. So it's 2 on, 2 out for Goldie.
Well, we know Brandon Drury can handle that fastball in, especially when it's down, but Casilla got a lot of sink on that pitch, runs it right out of the zone down near the feet of Brandon Drury for a swinging strike 3.
Goldie tonight could not solve Johnny Cueto. He hit into a double play and struck out 3 times. He is 0 for 4. He is the winning run at the plate with 2 outs in the 9th. Gosselin the runner at 3rd. Segura the tying run at 1st. See, almost threw that to the backstop. Almost did it again. 2-0.
Throughout this inning, Casillas consistently shaking off that slider that Buster Posey's hanging down. He just doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence in that pitch. He finally did throw one right there and bounced it in the left-handed batter's box. Shook off the curve, shook off the slider, shook off a fastball away, and Buster Posey's back there saying there's no way we're going to challenge Paul Goldschmidt on the inside part of the plate, representing the winning run in the game. Well, we'll see who won the argument here. Buster might not even hang a sign. They went out there and verbally talked it over, so he might just get into his crouch and signal for Casilla to go ahead and throw the pitch.
2 balls, no strikes. 2 on, 2 out.
Slider. Buster 1.
3-0. Jake Lamb on deck. He walked him. Bases are loaded for Lamb. Now a single will tie the ball game. Jake Lamb, as Bruce Bochy comes out to talk to his pitcher. Jake Lamb had an RBI single in the first. He walked his last time up, and Bochy's going to take the baseball from his closer and bring in his left-hander.
Bottom 9, 2 outs, and Jake Lamb will face the left-hander Javier Lopez. This is what matters right here, Lamb and Lopez. Left-hand batters 7 for 19 against Lopez, but only 2 for their last 10. Phil Gosselin is at third. Gene Segura, the tying runs at second. Goldie, the winning run at first. Ball 1. In there for a strike. Jake drew a base on balls to lead off the 8th inning against the left-hander. His numbers versus lefties this year. The other at bat was against Josh Osich. 1-1 to Lamb. 2 balls and a strike.
Jake has had some better at bats recently against left-handed pitching. Chip said on that last road trip he needed to start seeing some results against the lefties for Jake to be in there every day.
He's got his opportunity right here. Second, panic, and the Diamondbacks will leave them loaded. They drop the opener this 4-game series 4-2, and their lack of luck in their home ballpark continues. The Diamondbacks dropped to 5-13 this season at Chase Field.
That has got to change. Got to change.
Well, they out-hit the Giants 10-8, but they lose it 4-2. It was a rough night for Zach Greinke. Johnny Cueto was outstanding, and the Giants take the opener of the 4-game series. We'll be back tomorrow night. Shelby Miller against Jeff Samardzija. First, though, let's wrap this one up. Diamondback Live post-game show starts now as Brandon Webb is standing by with Todd Walsh. Todd.
All right, thank you very much, Steve. And before we get to the show, just a quick observation here, Brandon, before we break here as the Giants shake hands and go into their dugout and into their clubhouse. This wasn't how I thought this game was going to play out at the onset of this game. Do you know where I'm going?
Yeah, quickness-wise?
Yeah, no, just in terms of Diamondbacks got the lead. Greinke looked like he was dialed in, and Cueto looked like he was struggling.
Yeah, it did. It totally switched
180.
lanes.
180. All right, so we'll talk a lot about pitching, if you don't mind.
Let's do that.
When we come back in a matter of moments, well, and it all started with the ceremonial first pitch from the Hall of Famer, now with a road named after him. Randy Johnson Way, as he told me earlier tonight. It's surreal. We'll take a break. When we come back, Diamondbacks Live begins. 4-2 your final in Game 1 of this 4-game series. Game 1 of a 7-game homestand. Diamondbacks struggles continue here at home. We'll hear from Bob Brenner, Chip Hale, and more player reaction as well.